Eh ben, c'est un grand plaisir d'être parmi vous ici en France, que je considère comme ma patrie à moi aussi, venant d'origine libanaise. I'm very happy to be here and honored with all my colleagues. Thank you so much for inviting me. So many international colleagues, that's amazing. Je ne sais pas si on va avoir le temps, je vais aller vite. Je ne savais pas quoi dire en un quart d'heure, alors j'ai eu la philosophie globale de Géotechnique. Il n'y aura pas de théorie, mais juste un peu un résumé, a summary of my life as a geotechnical engineer. I went from research, design, consulting, contracting, so it was a fun professional life. J'ai divisé ma présentation en 5 chapitres. I will be bilingual, so I hope this is okay. Je vais commencer par vous dire, merci d'avoir été venu, ma fiancée Rania est là avec son amie Aline. Ça m'encourage, thank you. So my presentation will be divided in 5 chapters. The first one is about ISS MGE, my family and your family, your international family, that I am presiding for another 3 years. The ISS MGE is the oldest and largest society representing our profession worldwide. It was established in 1936 by the father of modern geotechnics, Carl Terzaghi. The structure, if you open the website, you can see the structure. At the top, you have the members, or the member societies. This represents the council. 90 countries so far. It started with 15 countries with Terzaghi. And then in the middle, the board, which is managing the society, and with the president and 11 other members. And around the board, we have projects and board-level committees, the main engine running the show, doing the professional image committee, technical oversight committee, corporate associates. I will stop at the corporate associates to say that the corporate associate can be also members, like supporting companies, other than the national societies. And then we are also part of FIDIGS. There exists a society called the Federation of International Geoengineering Societies, qui englobe les géologistes, geosynthetics, the International Society, and the rock mechanics people. So 4 societies are part of FIDIGS. And I want to mention that Professor Neil Taylor just left us as a Secretary General after 24 years, and he was recently replaced or substituted by Dr. Andrew McNamara, for your information. So if you receive an email from McNamara, it's not a spam. He's a new Secretary General. This is the picture of the board, and you can recognize the board by the pin, the new pin we introduced, and I'm showing here Neil Taylor. The main strong horse running the technical portion of the society are the technical committees, and I'm sure many of you are part of these technical committees. There are about 40 of them. And I mentioned the corporate associates. Again, they're divided. We divided them in 3 levels: the platinum level, gold members, and silver level. If you are part of a company, even if you are part of the CFMS, please join the ISS MGE to become more international. It's nothing, $500, or for large companies, $1,500 per year. Don't forget, especially the young engineers, to join or take a look at the virtual university with hundreds of webinars and videos, all for free, and also the Journal of the International Society, hundreds and even thousands of papers, proceedings, all open access, free for all. For the students, also check out the foundation of ISSMG. If you apply, you can get money to travel abroad for other international conferences. And don't forget the awards. Don't wait for the last minute, especially the Bright Spark Lecture Awards for the young engineers. I don't know if you have any Bright Spark Lecture in this symposium, but for the next event, we give awards like this. And since my election, I gave 24 certificates. So these are young engineers that have very nice paper and research to present, and they are given the floor on main events to present their work. And they are selected by the organizers. I'm also here mentioning the new Lifetime Achievement Medal. I will talk about it in a little bit. What's new with ISSMGE? So everything you saw before has been seen before, but the new part is that now we launched the IITT series. It's International Interactive Technical Talk. It was my idea to bring together academicians and practitioners from the industry and from the academia and from all around the world, young and renowned, to come together and discuss one subject. And we're trying to cover all 40 subjects until my departure in Vienna in 2026. So every month we have a new lecture, almost. Also, we launched the Idea Zone or iZone. If you have any idea to give us, now it's easy. You tell us what you want. We study it and hopefully implement it. We did a website exchange as a new idea and logo. So now every country member can connect directly with the logo with us and vice versa. Geoengineers Without Borders, it was my dream, and now we're trying to implement it. And it's led or headed by Professor Pierre Delage. It's at the image of Médecins Sans Frontières. So if there is a big event, natural disaster, or a problem in a country and they need our support, even if it's the USA or like yesterday in Libya, sometimes we just go to show our solidarity as a family and help them with reconnaissance. And we're launching this as we speak. Also in the events, if you visit issmge.org, now we have an interactive map. So not only you can look at the dates and the calendar, but you can see in the region what are the conferences that are coming. I'm showing here Europe. And the new medal, the ISSMG Lifetime Achievement Medal, was announced. We are giving 2 medals per year for somebody who spent all his life giving to this profession, and now it's time for us to give back. There were many nominees, 16 around the world, but the 2023 winners were Professor Yamlokovsky, who left us, unfortunately, one day before we elected him. And he's a dear friend. We will miss him. And Harry Poulos will also get the medal this year. Another medalist, we surprised him in Astana during the council meeting, was our Professor Neil Taylor, our Secretary General. He received it and was so happy to be surprised on stage. Finally, what did I do in 1 year or 1 year plus since May 2022? I just want to show off a little bit that I was traveling around the world. So in 1.4 years, I toured the world twice, or we toured the world twice, and I attended 103 events in 25 different countries. And the last item here should be this, the symposium. So that was ISSMGE and my journey with it in 1.4 years. Now my presentation will start with the basic principles, or I said that that I like to tell you about, the crazy units to start with. I cannot tell you how many times now I'm a forensic geotechnics expert around the world, but I cannot tell you how many, more than 50% of the time, the problem comes from the origin when you are analyzing and you forget that in the US we're still talking feet and pounds. And in East Asia, they're still using centimeters. Here we quit and we're only SI system. And it's crazy. If you don't start from the beginning, putting the units matching together, you will reach a problem that is way beyond the safety of factor of 3. It's at least 10. So please watch for units, because 10 milliliters of antibiotics can save your child. Yes, I was young here and they were kids, my kids. But 10 liters can really kill an elephant. So it's just a letter missing from milliliters to liters. And if you think this is a joke, take a look at this problem. In 1999, I was having lunch with a friend, and he told me a story about his cousin who designed the first climate orbiter to go around Mars. He was from Lebanese origin, and he did the design in France. And then they sent all this to the US for NASA to launch the orbiter. And it's a software that they wrote. This $125 million satellite was supposed to reach Mars, but as it approaching Mars, it vanished. If you read here, the NASA review board found that the problem was in the software controlling the thrusters. The software calculated the force in pounds. However, a separate piece of the software took the data assuming it was newtons. $125 million vanished in space. Everyone, and look at the engineer, Richard Cooks, everyone was amazed we didn't catch it. So please catch it. Jumping to a new basic principle, de l'intuition au jugement. Never ever follow your intuition. This is an example. If we take a rope, the red rope, and we throw it from here all around the earth. So this is le périmètre. And the question is, if I take another rope, make it 6 meters longer, the green rope, and then spread the spacing above ground equally, how high will it be? Par intuition, tout le monde va dire c'est négligeable. But if you do the simple math of difference of radius or radii, the rope, the new rope that is only 6 meters longer will go 1 meter above the ground with the simplest equation or geometry that we learned in elementary school. This is to tell you, I'll give you another example. If you take a piece of paper and you fold it 1, 2, 3, 4, 50 times, how thick will it be? If you do the simple math, you know, by intuition, you would say 10 centimeters or 1 meter maybe. But if you do the simple math, 2 to the power 50 times the thickness, you can reach the moon. So I'm showing you that only the simple theories can give you the right answer. Next is Solje. Solje is a word that I launched because I was always under pressure as an enthusiast young engineer, people asking me, what do you think, what will happen? And I'm on site and I give wrong answers. I gave wrong answers for many years until I established a strong personality to say, hey, give me the data. So give me the soil data, give me the loads because they affect big time. Let me talk to the architect, geometry, and let me visit the site. Let me see, did you have a failure in the past nearby or what? Once you collect this, always, always visit the site. I cannot tell you how many times I'm on the plane going to the jungle in Nigeria and I have the solution in my head because I read all the documents. I get there and I decide to totally change the solution. It's crazy. You have to visit the site. Even if you are designing, try to visit the site. Maybe at least get a video drone or somebody with WhatsApp camera. You have to see what's happening. It's always good to visit the site. And once you do that, then you decide what's the mode of failure, what's the applicable theory, what's the software. And this is when your judgment comes. Always safety on top, cost and functionality. They come together comme un trépied. That's what you get, the good solution. Any foreman on site can give you a bridge, can build a bridge, but it will either cost 3 times more or it will crumble. Or if he's lucky, it's nice. That's what makes us good engineers. Engineering in life, it's time to drink. This is the fun part. So many of you saw this, but if you're not sure, you can check that pression atmosphérique existe. Oui. Also, la force centrifuge existe. Et puisque nous sommes ici avec Coulomb, il faut essayer le frottement. Donc je prends un billet $100 cette fois. Si ça ne marche pas, vous le prenez. So we have always been told that static friction is stronger than dynamic friction. But if you combine together everything and you push, it doesn't work, static friction. But if you put some, what we call it, apparent cohesion or suction, and you use dynamic, it works. I have a very heavy wallet. So, putting together all these experiences as you are living. Oui. Non, je vais retourner. Merci. Tu es venu pour les $100? So the idea is, if you put together all these theories, you can take, and you grasp them, you feel them, you can take more risks. Your life will be more fun. This is friction, dynamic friction. And this is the driver. Back to the basic equations. Our life as humans have gone through many equations, and these are some equations that change the world. Nowadays, we have stuff that is changing the world. Oh, I have to say that these 2 equations changed my life. I'll come back to this. But now we're talking 3D finite element modeling. Didn't it change our engineering world? It's changing it. We have 3D visualization and holograms. And we have drones that are mapping with artificial intelligence. So we are trying to be ready. I'm too late, too old for that. I'm trying to catch up. But for the young engineers, you are in a much better position than us in solving big problems in geotechnical engineering. So for my case, I was faced with a project to put a monopile or a group of piles under a very large wind turbine. And I had to go back to school to solve with this 4th root differential equation. And by solving it, we take the finite or discrete element to discover what happens under dynamic cyclic loading with the pile in terms of deformation y as a function of z, the depth, and t, time. And by solving it and typing it in font 16, the equation was 33 meters long. 33 mètres. Alors, elle peut faire 2 fois le tour de cette salle. And I made the workers hold it, carry it, so they feel that the work they are doing has a mathematical background. Always marry theory to practice. Ici, je ne sais pas pourquoi, but it's a simulation that you will see the pile moving. I will go fast. This project was in Texas. 174 turbines, 2.3 megawatt each, 120 meter high, radius of the fan 100 meters. And the problem was solved using that. I want to mention that in the past, when you had laterally loaded piles and the pile under load, it's either a rigid or a flexible theory application. And the transfer length L0 has to be determined. If L, the length of the pile, is less than L0, you use rigid theory. If the length is more than 3L0, you use the flexible theory. At least that's how I was taught at the university. But with this new equation, the missing link between L0 and 3L0 was discovered. And that was the paper we wrote in 1996 and was candidate for best paper in ASCE at the time. But in simple forms or simple equation. If you take, I happens to have a fork. So if you take the pile here in monopile and the same pile in sand can be flexible, can act as a flexible pile. But if you put it in mayonnaise, I had to buy a big jar of mayonnaise. I didn't eat it all, you can tell, but the pile becomes rigid. And if you want to put it in an easier form, like you're holding in my hand, what is this? This is, each finger is your finite element, the element or discrete element. And I'm pushing the force. If you cannot bend the fork because it's not rock, I'm not strong and I have arthritis, but maybe Alain Picard can bend it. So it becomes a rigid pile. The same pile in a strong hand will bend. That's the difference. So soul structure interaction, you feel it. Business as engineers. Oh, I found another fork. Let me see. I know it's entertaining, but it's a proof that if you live engineering, it's fun. I didn't try it here before. Maybe I should try it here. Oh. The sum of moments equals 0. Sum of forces equals 0. Around the point where Coulomb said friction is enough to hold it. So business as engineers, all I want to say is I hope you are from the people at the top. If you are in yellow, push yourself to be in red. And same for the green, and I don't think any of you is in green because you don't reach this set salle. Also be ready to work internationally. So if you are in hot Africa, you should be ready nowadays to work in permafrost in Canada. In France, you're okay because you have the Mediterranean on one side and the freezing portion on top. Also in France, you're okay in terms of corruption. You are in orange, so you can deal with the projects in Africa. You will have a hard time in the USA. I got used to it. The difference is that instead of giving the envelope under the table, you give it to the mayor above the table and shake hands. We are all humans. That's my opinion. Lessons learned, if you want to take a snapshot, these are the lessons I learned from my career. So always collect the data and never give an answer from intuition without checking the units. Always marry theory to practice. Use all the data available, all the theories, all the software, and simplify to get the first estimate. So the best solution may be finite element, the worst result may be finite element. It's a strong tool, but it has to be in good hands. Respect, but don't limit yourself the code, because the code is not made for every problem. Always innovate and design without compromising safety. Conduct monitoring, visit the site, call the client, tell them how is the project doing. It's the best continuing education. And be ready to expand internationally and stay connected with your international family. And never forget what Steve Jobs said before he died. The only way to do great work is to love what you do. I personally love geotechnical engineering. Finally, the last equation. To understand love better, you have to go deep. To understand soil better, you have to go deep. So, soil equal love. Merci pour votre attention.